First person I would love to talk about is Morrissey. Obviously an incredible profile, beautiful face, very natural subject, or, you know, what did you have to do a lot of work with him? And also what did you find out about him when you took his photograph?
Well, that was some time ago. That was the young Morrissey, the more rebellious Morrissey. I think he's possibly mellowed a little bit to the detriment of his fans. They kind of liked the rebel in Morrissey, didn't they? I found him to be very beautiful in the most positive way that you can describe a man. He has almost the perfect face in terms of the chisel and all of those things that go with that. But unlike a model, he's also got the ability to show an expression and emotion, which comes through in his music. I mean, you know, if you the thing about Morrissey is that whether you love him or hate him, you can't help but be moved by him, in whichever way that's good for you. But and it's true to say that people mellow anyway. So, you know, all of that stuff that he did then, I suspect now he might look back and say, yeah, that was good, but, you know, was it me? Was it the truth? I don't know. It probably was.
Yeah. I mean, his truth is certainly bursting out of him now. I wonder what it would be like to photograph him now versus then.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, just very quickly, when I did the Time to Reflect photo booth project, where I got, in the end, about 400 dignitaries and celebrities from around the world to sit in the photo booth and to do their own self-portraits. One of them was Rufus Sewell, the actor. And in the year 2000, he did it. And then in the year 2010, there was a little documentary made about it. And I got him to do it again. And we put the two images of him filmed in the photo booth side by side. And in 2000, he was just nuts. He was like the drugged up kid actor who was just starting, and it was all movement. And then when we got to the 2010 one, he was just the cool, suave, beautiful man who was just, he got over all of that. And I just thought it was really lovely to kind of get two separate images of someone who had just grown up from being the kid actor into ending up being, you know, this very cool guy.
Which one?
I suspect Morrissey would be exactly the same. We all grow up, don't we?
Yeah. Eventually, we're getting there.
Have you grown up, Julie?
No, but I think that's really to do with defiance than anything else, really. I don't really want to, you know. I definitely still enjoy being around younger people. I've got, you know, a couple of teenagers, and I find my mental age is a bit closer to theirs than the mum that I'm supposed to be.
So are you an embarrassing mum, or are you a good friend to them? I mean, do they find you to be the cool mum?
I wish they would. But no, sadly, they just, definitely probably a bit cringy. Yeah, not yeah. But you know, not unlike most mums, I would expect. But I love that. In the picture you took of Julie Walters, who's the other portrait that I love that you've done, that seemed like really it didn't feel like there were any sort of barriers there. You really captured her true personality, the cup of tea, she's in bed. I absolutely love that. How did you get her to behave like that?
That was the first time that I'd met Julie, and over the last 40 years we've been in touch often. I mean, not every year, so every 4 or 5 years we kind of get back in touch with each other. And it was simply because I was starting out, she was starting out, and it was like hanging out together. It was just lovely. And, you know, that whole idea of the Julie Walters character she is just a treasure. I mean, she really is, and I think we all feel that of her. But she's the same, you know, unlike what we were just talking about Morrissey, she was the same then as she is now. She's so down to earth, completely understands the roots of where she came from and all of the things around that. She knows that family is important. She loves what she does, and above all, she loves to laugh. And you know, she makes us laugh, but she absolutely adores it when she's in the community of laughter, and I think that that's really lovely. So yeah, I suppose what you see in that photograph of her lying in bed with those, I think there's probably Habitat sheets and her cup of tea, is Julie Waters. If I took it now, and maybe I should do exactly the same thing now, I bet you it would be an identical picture. Right.
What's your favourite portrait that you've taken?
The favourite is always probably the ones which were difficult to achieve. I love my one of Betty Davis. I mean, I was a young photographer and she was coming to the end of her life, but also at the end of her career. And songs have been written about Betty Davis' eyes. So I really wanted to photograph those eyes. Excuse me. I really wanted to photograph those eyes and to make sure that it was tight on her face. And just 2 years before, she'd had a stroke. So it was touch and go whether she would go for it or not.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing her at the Savoy Hotel doing these pictures, and it was really incredible because she kind of listened and she knew what I wanted. And I went back the next day and she had some scissors and an eye loop on the table. And I said, Miss Davis, what are they for? And she said, how many pictures do you need? And I said, well, I don't know, a cover and 5 for the inside of the magazine. And she said, well, that's all I'm going to give you, Alistair. And she literally, she looked at all of these transparencies and things, and she cut them up, the ones that she didn't want to be used. And she left me with 5. And she left me, to her credit, with the one that I wanted, which was the tight shot of the Betty Davis eyes. So I suppose as much the story and the experience and the memory of it makes you feel as if that was a special picture.
It's gorgeous. Who was the first famous person that you photographed?
Oh, do you know what? I'm not sure. There was a whole group of them that lived in Putney and Fulham. Helen Mirren, Julie Waters. There was a lot of the very beautiful boys like Hugh Grant and James Wilby and all of that lot. They were probably slightly later. I was really lucky. I was photographing very, very famous people like Laurence Olivier and Gielgud, John Gielgud, and Lauren Bacall, and people like that right from the start. And it's a really nice story, actually. There's a journalist called David Lewin, and he was of their age, and so he used to get the interviews with them, but he always used to ask me to come and do the pictures for years, and I was getting all of these fantastic shoots. And I remember asking him once and saying, you know, why? I'm so pleased, I'm so privileged that you've always asked me. You've never asked another photographer to come and do this. You know, I'm so pleased you like my work. And he said to me, Alistair, I do like your work, but I don't drive and you're a great chauffeur. So I just used to drive him to all of the shoots. And I thought to myself, I'm not offended by that. It's great. I get the opportunity to photograph these guys. Which is brilliant. So. Oh, I tell you who I did photograph. Probably wasn't my first. It probably wasn't my first, but I photographed Kate Winslet when she was very, very young, possibly 17 or 18. And it was her agent who called me and said, and agents would always call to say, would you do some pictures? This is a new actor, and she's going to be really big, and you know she's going to be great. And I was going, oh, all right, okay. Yeah. And these pictures were just, you know, supposed to be for their portfolio or whatever. And suddenly he said, her name's Kate Winslet. So didn't know who Kate Winslet was. So I did this day with her doing all of these fantastic pictures. And, it's kind of nice now to think that later on, I've got some of the first, if not the first, pictures of someone. That's quite special.
That's incredible. What is a legacy? What is a legacy photograph? Why is it called a legacy?
Mainly because it's a group of people who I get together, and it's a legacy of their talent. So, for instance, the legendary musicians was about the great male musicians. I'm going to be doing a female one as well. It was just mainly that when you see that talent, which the talent tends to always dominate your life, you feel somehow as if your life has been molded through the love of their music, or the love of their acting, or the love of their writing, whatever it happens to be. So why not try to get all of those people together who've created that legacy for us, which started with the Actors' Last Supper, and that was actors coming together. And I kind of just find a theme or something which is right for it. With the musicians, I just sort of busking and just taking them back to their roots. So the whole of the theme of the musicians piece is all about them being on the street again, busking. And
what are you hoping to achieve with Time to Pause?
I think Time to Pause is just really about people. It's totally about people. My photography is all about people. And if I can't have them in the room with me, then I want to be able to still photograph them. And in testing, you have to kind of test the quality of the screenshots and everything. And I think that there's something quite unique about having the opportunity now, even in lockdown, to be able to chat to each other and to see each other's faces. So I thought, forget the quality of the screen, just do what you would normally do and see how well you can do it. So let's do it, Julie.
Because Max, look, said to
yes.
have a white background. Shall I take it away?
Actually, the wall is white. Is the wall white?
Well,
or cream?
Yeah, look, it's the wardrobe.
Oh, that's perfect. That's better. Thanks, Julie. But thank you for trying.
You mean I can't get a job as an assistant?
You could have earned it.
Hey, do you ever ask anybody to stand up so that you can see? Because at home, obviously, you're photographing people at home, and so in your studio, you've got it all set up, the lights and everything. But when you're photographing somebody at home, do you ever just go stand up so I can see if you're wearing your jogging bottoms?
No, I've just spoken to someone who had lived on islands, and my mum was brought up on an island, and my mum never wears shoes because she's a beach babe. And so I said to that person, show me your feet, but you got no shoes on. And sure enough, she had no shoes on. I said, there you go, another beach babe, you see. So
yeah, so you can still tell a lot from a person, even though you're photographing them, with a screen between you.
Yeah, you can in a way, and it's interesting. I mean, obviously you don't get all the tactile things. Well, we can't do that anyway now, and you don't get the, even the scent, the smell, the perfumes, and all of those things, which do give an indication of someone's, if you like it, their preparation. And I think that idea of having your picture, it's a moment in time. A lot of people try to prepare for it. And the worst thing to do is to try and photograph people's children when they're in the room too, because mums and dads always try to get them dressed up as they feel they should be presented, instead of that kind of muddy kneed, hair everywhere, and should be. So. Yeah, but I mean, let me ask you then. I mean, you're having your picture done soonish. So get yourself made up and prepared for this, apart from the terrible white sheet that you put up behind you?
No, I just literally just rolled out of
I
bed.
thought
like
so,
this.
Julie.
That's what. Yeah, to wake up like this, it's you know.
The reality was, though, that you, excuse me, the reality was that because we had technical problems earlier, you did say to me, I have to do it today because I've spent a long time getting made up.
Yeah,
so,
I did put mascara on, and yeah, definitely, yeah.
And is that because you knew that that's the person that you wanted to portray, or are you trying to hide something?
It's trying to hide a lot, Alistair. Trying to hide a lot. I think it's a great question. It's like how you portray yourself. Is Instagram a big lie? I mean, you've been on my Instagram. I've been on yours and had a good look. Obviously, there's not that many pictures of you, which I do want to ask you about as well. How do you feel when you're getting your photograph taken? But do you look at people's Instagrams and say that's not really that person?
Generally, I think there are a few Instagram accounts that are really good. I mean, the nature of photography now, I mean, bear in mind that once upon a time, we only ever used to take a camera on holiday, and we used to take pictures of family, probably bung them into Boots or the chemist, and then get back the pack, crappy pictures. And you look at them and go, oh, yeah, there's Auntie Ethel. And then you kind of go, yeah, okay, in the drawer. And nothing. And now what you can do is you can take pictures and store them. So the problem is, though, that people now want to present themselves in a way that isn't truly them. And it's this strange thing about feeling that you have to be someone else. And to be honest, media and magazines, and they don't help, because they're saying, look like Cara Delevingne or look like so-and-so. I suppose it's always been the same, look like Twiggy, look like whoever, Linda Evangelista. But now I do believe that there's a little bit more honesty in the portrait, and there's something quite vulnerable about that. But there's nothing wrong with that. We're all vulnerable, aren't we? So
yeah, I mean, it's the difference between maybe trying to present the best version of yourself, the one that you're okay with, versus the one that you don't necessarily want other people to see.
Yeah,
and that comes down to insecurity. Do you think? I mean, you have a lot of power as a photographer with, in the studio as well. You must be aware of how you make people feel when you're, you've got the camera there. Already I know that you're going to take my picture. I feel slightly nervous about what you're going to ask me to do. There's an uncertainty there. Are you aware that you've got that power, and how do you then help people to relax and get what you need from the photograph?
I wouldn't call it a power. I'd call it a privilege. It's like the fact that you've said yes means that there's something about you that wants it to happen.
Yeah.
Now I've got to try and find what that thing is, and in a way try to, in a very short space of time, see if you are prepared to show me something of you, of the private you. So over a screen, that's much more difficult. But when you're in the room, there's all sorts of body language and all sorts of interaction that can go on. But even so, you can only ever get the truth in the eyes. And if you can find that, then that's really important. I mean, the most important phrase that I would ever say for my photography now is, I'm not trying to find the pose anymore. I really want to find the pause in you. And we all have pause moments. If you go home, I mean, you are home, we're all home, but, if you've been out for the day, God forbid, and we come home and we kick our shoes off and we're knackered and we have a shower and we sit down and watch television or whatever we do, that's the true you in a way. That's the private you. That's the you who doesn't particularly feel that you have to perform, whether it's at work or whether it's just taking the train in. it's just a strange little thing that when we're in company, there's like rules that we have to keep about how we have to be and perform. That's what the suit is about, isn't it? You put a suit on because you are a banker and an accountant or this or that and everything, and then politicians kind of started to take their jacket off, so that they looked a little bit more casual. Men of the people, women of the people. It's fascinating, and I've often said that even though I'm not trained, I'm probably now a better psychologist than I am photographer.
Right. How do you feel when someone's taking your photograph?
Not good. I tell you why, because all my rules kind of fall out the window. So, if I'm photographing someone and asking them to be truthful, when someone points it at me, one thing for sure is I will make sure that I'm not in profile, because I know that, I'm a bit overweight now. So all of those things go through your head, and you then make all the mistakes and assumptions that you expect other people to throw out of the window. Yeah. But then that's good in a way that I go through that experience, because then I can understand who have you hidden in there? Is Morrissey in there?
Oh yes. Don't tell anybody.
You got the Morrissey moment, have you? All right, darling. Now listen, and that posture up, darling. Come on, posture. That's it. Perfect. And that's lovely. Now, what I want you to do is just be, all right? It's not going to be, there's no smile in this, it's just there. Now, I really would love to do something of you with, there. There's you are. That's lovely. You're there. That's perfect. Lovely. Open them. Just open. There you go.
Done.
How did that feel?
Honestly, I was really shaky. I was really physically shaking. Could you see that?
No, I couldn't. I actually thought that you looked as if you'd beach somewhere.
Well, you got in the end.
In your head?
Yeah, actually in the end, I think what really helped was when you grounded me.
Yeah. Grounding is very important, actually. And it's about, people are always in space. And if they can't use their hands, or their hands or their elbows aren't leaning on something, or there isn't a prop or something, then they feel as if they're just floating, and that's quite difficult. So yeah, if you, I like that word, grounded. I've never thought of that before. Sorry, say that again.
No, I became very aware of how heavy my
side Windsor.
Right.
And where are you right now?
Northwest 10, Wilson.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I hope it's a great success.
And you.
Thank you so much for taking my picture. Thank you.
My pleasure.
What an honour.
No, it's not an honour at all. It's great for me to have you come and say, would you do my picture? It's nice. It's really nice. I feel as if people are slightly frightened of doing that because of, the celebrity thing. And it's nothing to do with that. It's about me.
Well, big thanks to Ben Ramble, because if I hadn't have heard his solo radio show, we wouldn't
Absolutely.
Be. So,
yeah, that was great.
Thank you very much to Max as well, and lovely to meet you.
Absolutely. And let's have a shout out for the NHS. And part of what we're doing, Time to Pause for, is the NHS. So, if anyone wants to go to @Time to Talk 20 on my Instagram, then they can find. Is that a good number for you?
Well, I'll let you know when the picture comes back.
From the chemist. Great. All right, Julie.
Thanks so much, Alistair.
No, thank you.